Hello and welcome to another StarCraft 2 co-op video. Today we'll be looking at another post from a Chinese forum about the upcoming mutation. So this mutation is a lesser version of Death and Taxes. Microtransactions restricts massing units. Black Death restricts elite units such as Nova's units. It's kind of disgusting. The top bars, if you use it every time you get into the UI mode, it costs 10 minerals and 5 gas. For Stukov P3, this is going to be people's first choice. His units are not afraid of Black Death, and you can just point the psi emitter to negate microtransactions, so it's like regular Brutal. The problem is not Stukov himself, but with the Stukov's allies, because when his infested trail, they're going to infect each other. And if you are Stukov and your ally is someone like Alarak or Nova, you're gonna infect his units, and then your ally's going to say something like, this guy, he's only thinking about soloing. Another thing you can do is ask for a P1 Kerrigan ally to play the game and then just quit. Then you control your ally's Kerrigan. You need 1 mineral, 1 gas, and then you can control her units. And then you can use Immobilization Wave for the big waves, and then you can enjoy the 60% buff from the Malignant Creep from P1 Kerrigan. Next one, let's see. Dehaka, you're going to use Creeper Hosts and shoot them from a safe place. No one objects to that. It's best to turn off the automatic creeper generation, locust generation, because especially when fighting Terran, because sometimes SCVs will walk over to try to repair and then they will infect you. You're not really pressured on pacing. You can use the downtime to move your creeper host to a better place, to a better location. If you're not going to stuff the spawns, you can consider adding a few primal worms to draw aggro, especially at the left, the fourth set, the left 3 ones, because especially when Zerglings come, they will just attack the bot directly. So if you can stall for even a bit longer, it'll be really good. For the hero unit, there are two schools of thought. One is to use P2, and then you use the pack leaders. They cost just 1 mineral to use, and you don't really control Dehaka. The other school of thought is to use P3, leave Dehaka home and use Soehaka, because he only costs 1 mineral to use and 4 drones to revive. You can use either one. I prefer the former. That's what this guy says. I think P3 is better because you don't need stronger pack leaders for this. Avatar P2 DPS from Swarm Hosts is not very good. However, you don't really need, you're not here to speed run this, so it doesn't really matter. Missed Opportunities is not that kind of map, so if you do that, it's not a big problem. You can use the automatic locust generation tactic to save money. And how you do this is you turn off the automatic detonation of a toxic nest, and you put this nest right at the end, I guess about 20 spaces in front of your swarm host, and then you use your swarm host to attack this nest that has been turned off, and they will keep sending locusts to this nest until, well, actually for forever. And if the enemies happen to be there, then the locusts will fight. And you only need to do this once, so it saves a lot of money. If you encounter a Phoenix toss, then make an overseer, and then you need to focus down their observer or kill all the phoenixes, and then the swarm host can continue doing their thing. Otherwise, they'll take out that toxic nest. If you can't remember to turn off Morph to Brutalist, then just use P1, but P2 is better. Phoenix P2 just says here 1A, 1A, 1A to your heart's content, and it's best to put Caldalis in his own group. When Phoenix switches suits, he's going to get rid of Black Death, and the cheerleading squad, put the cheerleading squad in a safe place. This is the Shell Farm. Cheerleading squad is a really nice name for this. I like it. For Carax, when you use Solar Lance, it costs 10 minerals, 5 gas to go into the UI mode, and then it costs 11.5 for each lance. So yeah, you should not rush to use all 3 blades from the Solar Lance, all 3 lances. You don't need more than 1 to kill each wave anyways. So you're mainly using the Solar Lance to kill the enemies, and you just have a few towers at each bot to pick off whatever's left. P3 is better since you want the cheaper orbital strikes to break the rocks, and then you can expand sooner. For other tower commanders, it's about the same. When you're playing in duels, you just do whatever you want. I'm not recommending Hunt and Horner. I'm just telling you something about microtransactions. This is interesting, personally. So when you use strike fighters from via a hotkey, it costs 1 mineral, 1 gas. When you click the top bar to use it, it costs 10 minerals, 5 gas. However, for Tychus, no matter where you use a medevac, it is 1 mineral, 1 gas. For Artanis, they call him that guy. For that guy, Artanis, when you use Orbital Strike, it costs 10.5 per shot. Next, the week afterwards is Mutually Assured Destruction, Eminent Domain on Temple. It's similar to what we have seen recently. And then next week, there's Portal Power, which is Rift's Power Overwhelming. And then the week after that is Chaos Studios on Vermilion Problem. Okay, next one. That was the first post. Wow. This one is Zagara. This week is a good Zagara test because I recommend using P1 and you will have to be tested on the Zagara basics. So one of them is splitting, how to engage waves and how to split your units. There are 3 tasks that you need to do for dealing with waves. Or this is making units. So there are 3 things you need. One is to inject. Second one is to make units, including morphing into banelings and spreading creep. For splitting army, you need to not use F2, and you need to use the correct amount of units and the types of units and defend multiple fronts. If you only use units, you can do it, but if you add bio launchers later in the late game, it will be even better. Next one, honestly speaking, this week is going to mess with you because if you want to avoid Black Death, you need to micro more. If you want to avoid microtransactions, you need to micro less. So finding a balance between these 2 will be the key. For Raynor, do not go bio, go mech. Tanks, Vikings, Spider Mines will destroy Amon's units. Kerrigan, if you must make units, they will be inside the Omega Worms most of the time, and they only come out when it's time to fight. But you're probably better off with just Kerrigan herself. Artanis, you make Zealots to block them, and then use long-range units to get rid of the rest. But honestly speaking, I don't recommend using him this week. Swan, towers are not afraid of Black Death. And wait for your ally to clear the next area, and then you mass towers there. Zagara, since you're gonna die anyways, why don't you just blow them up directly? So after you destroy an encampment, call your Swan or Karax ally to make some static defense, and the rest of the time is charge the waves. Yeah, charge the waves with your stuff. Karax, you can use top bar and towers. Top bars take out the encampments and the waves, and then the few units that are left will run into your towers. Nova, don't even consider defending, just consider offense, offense, offense. So destroy all the buildings and then ask your ally to mass static defense. For the big waves, such as like the 1531, use your top bars. You can use Nova as a tank to take the hits for the Black Death. And since Nova can just die and get revived, her units should not get infected by Black Death. For Abathur, as the OP said, just make swarm hosts, mass swarm hosts. Alarak, I don't know what this means. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what this means. This is a time for you to test your hand speed. You need to use Ascendance. The T is the orb, and then F is Mind Blast, and then like take them out immediately, and then move the infected supplicants away. For Han and Horner, use strike fighters on the units, and then use this is a Hyperion. No, this is the battle cruiser. Use battle cruisers on high HP units. Remember that every time you engage a wave, you need to use Hellbats to draw aggro, and then after you're done, just throw them away. They're tanky and they're gonna get hit by Black Death anyways. So yeah. Also remember to not upgrade to carriers, because if an interceptor gets infected, your galleon will die. Stukov, all my bunkers are good. You can use P3. You can use P0 mass bunkers. If you use P1, you can use tanks, but don't put them in along the path where the infested are going. Phoenix, my heroes become top bars or like elite units, mercenaries. This one is the Rock Slapper needs to spend money to go to work, so Caldalis basically. Remember to keep your cheerleading squad away from the front lines. Tychus, you can make a healer, make a tank, a muscle, then use Nux and Tychus double AoE to destroy all the waves. For the big waves, you use Odin's nuke. Sirius's turrets don't care about Black Death, and they can act as tanks. The Haka uses creeper hosts and turn off the autocast. Put a few primal worms in case the creeper host's cooldown is not ready and a wave comes over. For your pack leaders, just use them. They can serve as offense or defense. For Zeratul, you can look at the enemy composition to determine whether you want mass enforcers or abrogators, or you can just mass cannons and project them. For Manx, there are different methods. You can use the Zerg, you can rain nukes, you can use ESOs to destroy ground units, you can use Pride of Augustgrad to take out high HP units, you can use the Royal Guard, this is Thor, and Rocket Troopers to take out air units. If you really don't know how to do that, then you can bunkers and put units in them. And for Stetman, just use Green Zone, and then you can use Zergling, Hydralisk, or Mass Infestors. And then remember to overcharge Purple Zone, okay? And then here, with the Zagara strategy, you can pretty much play Versus. So for Abathur, with 20, if you launch 24 Ravager shots at the time, how much would you have to spend? And then it says 72, okay. But this one, I tried P1 Ravagers versus Vanguard of Ire, and your timing is extremely important. If you miss the timing, it's no good. So I don't recommend it. Next one, for Phoenix and Vorazun P2, anything that reduces damage will leave their units at 1 HP, and that's right. If you use Kerrigan, you can Kerrigan P1, creep will give you added attack speed, and then Stukov's endless creep spread makes her like really good in the early game. So your Expo, you can give it to Stukov. She just plays hero only. Use Assimilation Aura to get some money, and in the mid-late game, just watch Stukov do all the work. Watch it. This literally says watch Stukov's performance. And then Tychus is like this. For P2, make Rattlesnake. Your healing stick heals 2%, and then you that's enough to withstand Black Death. But if you upgrade to 4% with the Z ear, you will heal over it. But then the multitasking is gonna be really tough. Yeah, Rattlesnake can be between your units and your allies' units. So he's a good ally as well. If you're using non-P2, you can group up, make Rattlesnake first, and then make Nikara if you're still worried, and you should have enough healing. However, it costs a lot of money to move all your units at once. No matter what prestige you use, you cannot just rely on the nurse, which is Nikara, to heal because her regular A does not heal herself, and she's going to. It's also easy for her to get attacked because she wanders off. For Abathur, I think P1 is more effective, but then there's the Locust passive, and the Locust can infect your ally. This is easy. Just let Abathur be the only one who goes on the offense to clear stuff. And then once your Ravagers have cleared an area, call Karax over to fill the place up with towers. And then 100 biomass units will not die to Black Death. And if you have 125 biomass with P1, you're actually going to recover HP. The Locust passive, it's okay. It's not going to really be noticeable unless your detector or like SCV gets infected and it runs back towards you. And that's it for this post. What advice do you have for this mutation? Comment it down below and I'll see you next time.